Like a great many maritime kids, Willie O'Ree grew up playing hockey. He practiced in his backyard in Fredericton, and he joined his first team at the age of 5. But unlike most kids who dream of playing the game professionally, Willie O'Ree actually made it to the big time. He made it to the Quebec Junior League in 1954. 2 years later, he moved up to what was then the mighty Quebec Hockey League. And then when the Boston Bruins came calling in January 1958, Willie O'Ree from Fredericton, New Brunswick, became the first black player in the National Hockey League. All these years later, he's still involved in the game that he's loved his whole life. He's the National Hockey League's Diversity Ambassador. And this weekend, his life and career are to be celebrated at the second Black Ice and Sports Hall of Fame Conference in Dartmouth. We're very pleased to have Willie O'Ree with us here tonight. Welcome home.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be home.
Does the Maritime Provinces still feel like home to you even after all these years out there in California?
Oh, yes. I've always considered Fredericton my home. You know, I've got still have some family here, and I still have some wonderful, wonderful friends, kids that I've grown up with and played hockey and baseball with, and I just visited with some of them when I left Fredericton the last couple of days.
If I might say so, you grew up in Fredericton in the late 30s and the 1940s, and you point out that yours was really one of only 2 black families in Fredericton. What was it like to grow up there then at that time? What was it like?
Well, it was neat. You know, the 2 black families lived on the same street. The O'Ree family lived at 245 Charlotte Street, and the Lawrence family lived at 212. And, you know, I had 95% of my friends were white. The schools that I went to, I was the only black player on the rugby team, the baseball team. But you know, it was a fun childhood, and you know, I didn't experience any really bad racial remarks or anything. It's just kids playing and growing up and having fun.
You say that you didn't really encounter any racism until you were dealing with the grown-ups much later. What does that tell us about racism and the way kids learn to be racists?
Well, I think it's you know, kids have to just kind of accept a person for who they are, and you know, and just disregard the color of their skin. Yeah. And basically, that's what it was. You know, when I played, I knew I was a black man. Nobody had to tell me that. So when I went out and played, I just wanted to be accepted as just another player.
But those other kids just saw you as a darn good hockey player. You always were a darn good hockey player. Where did your love of hockey come from?
Well, I guess it came from my brother that I had the pleasure of playing with, my older brother, Richard, whose nickname was Coot. He was my brother, he was my friend, and he actually was my mentor. And, you know, he just, as I was growing up, he just helped me along, and then I had the pleasure of playing with him on several teams. And I can remember a couple of times he would just smash me into the boards. A clean check, you know, but smash me into
As only a brother can do.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes the tears would come to my eyes, and I'd say, "Brother, why are you hitting me so hard?" He says, "Well," he says, "I just want to let you know, if you plan to play professional one day or hope to get in the National Hockey League," he says, "you'll be hit a lot harder than this." And he says, "I just want to let you know that things can happen."
Were you dreaming about making the NHL even then?
Not till I was 14.
Okay, what happened at 14 that made you think about the NHL?
At 14, I was playing, and I just decided that I could pursue this sport. And if I went to school and kept my education, I just wanted to play. And I says, I think I can become a professional hockey player.
And you sure did. You get called up by the Bruins in '58. How big a deal was it in the media? How big a deal was it in the game when you joined professional hockey's Boston Bruins in '58?
Well, there was no big deal about it, because when I stepped on the ice in the Montreal Forum on January the 18th, 1958, I was Willie O'Ree with the Boston Bruins jersey on. Just a week prior to that, I was Willie O'Ree with the Quebec Aces jersey on. Now here, the fans were just saying, "Oh, here's this black kid. He's up now with the Bruins." We beat the Bruins, or we beat Canadians that night 3-0. Shut them right out in Montreal.
Were you a Canadians fan up until that time?
Yes, I was.
Probably were.
Yeah, I was. So
you had to go and beat them.
I went and beat them, and that was the big write-up in the paper. You know, Bruins shutout Habs, and. It wasn't until I was recalled back up in '61 that the media gave me the name, well, there's the Jackie Robinson of hockey.
Well, now, speaking of Jackie Robinson, did you know Jackie Robinson?
I met him on 2 occasions.
What did you talk about?
Well, when I first met him, I was 14, and I was playing baseball in my hometown, and we won the championship. The reward was that our team was to be taken to New York to see the Empire State Building and the Radio Music City, Coney Island, and we saw Jackie Robinson play at Ebbets Field. So I met him, and we talked about baseball, and then I told him, I said, "Mr. Robinson, I play hockey too." And he says, "There are black kids playing hockey?" I says, "Oh yes, there are."
Do you ever get a chance to talk to him after you broke the NHL color barrier?
In 1962, yes.
Yeah.
I was playing in Los Angeles with the Los Angeles Blades in the Western Hockey League. The NAACP had a luncheon in Mr. Robinson's honor. I got an invitation. So I went, and the coach of the team that I was playing with was there. Mr. Robinson was talking to a couple of gentlemen over in the corner, and I recognized them. And soon he finished. They come over and they introduced me, and they said, "Mr. Robinson, this is Willie O'Ree. He's one of our star players." And Willie O'Ree, he says, "Aren't you?"
He remembered you.
Yeah, he remembered me after all. That's the last time I had. That's the last time I had a conversation with him.
How good a job has the NHL done in becoming diverse in the last 50 years since you broke the color barrier? How happy are you with what's gone on?
Well, I'm very happy. You know, Commissioner Bettman, he's behind the program 100%. And the thing was that when they started the program, there was only 3 or 4 diversity programs. And then when I came aboard, we have 35 now. I just started one up in Alaska about 3 years ago. And the thing is that what we're trying to do is reach out and touch as many boys and girls as possible and let them know that there's another sport that they can play. And the nice thing about our program, it only costs about $50 a year for these kids to play. And if they don't have the money, we will not.
Because it's gotten very expensive for kids to play.
Oh, it is. You walk into a pro shop, it is expensive.
One other thing I got to mention to you, Mr. O'Ree, and that is that you not only made it to the Bruins in '58, you made it even though you were legally blind.
Yes,
95% blind in one eye, and nobody knew. How did you pull that off?
Well, it happened my last year junior. I was playing on the ice. There was a slap shot. Back then, we didn't wear any helmets, no face shield. I got the puck, and Kent Douglas went up with the Toronto Maple Leafs a little later on. Kent's out in the slot, and I come around the net, and I hit him with a perfect pass, and then I go out in front of the net, and I position myself for a deflection, and he blasts a slap shot, and the puck comes, and it ricochets off a stick, and as I did, I was cross-checked behind the back, and it swung me around. But as it swung me around, I turned around to see where the puck was, and the puck come up, hit me flat, broke my nose, broke part of my jaw, and I was down.
Didn't keep you out of the NHL, though?
No, the doctor told me that I'd never play hockey again. It was Dr. Henderson, and it was what he said that night that actually changed my life. He said, "Mr. O'Ree said the impact of the puck completely shattered the retina, and you're going to be blind." So I got out of the hospital and I started back skating again. Now I'm a left-hand shot playing left wing, so I had to turn my head all the way around to the right to pick the puck up with my left eye.
Wow.
And so I had to turn pro or turn amateur the next inning.
You had to get good or get out.
Get out, exactly.
Before I let you go quickly, who's the best player in the game today?
Oh, Sidney Crosby. I'd have to say Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, well, of course you're in his neighborhood.
I mean,
it's a great honor and a great pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much.
Real pleasure, Willie O'Ree. And by the way, the second of the Black Ice and Sports Hall of Fame conference is getting underway tomorrow at the Alderney Landing in Dartmouth, and the award ceremony and the tribute to Mr. Willie O'Ree, Saturday night at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, thanks to George Foster. He's very gracious in giving me the invitation to come, and I was thrilled when I got it. And I called my boss, and he said, "By all means, you're going to attend, regardless if we have to switch your schedule." So I'm very happy.
Good to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Back in just a moment. Wish we had even longer.